May I get in, sir?
Yes, come in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Please be seated. Are you fully vaccinated?
Yes, sir.
No symptoms of COVID?
No, sir.
You may remove your mask.
Yes, sir.
Raj Krishna,
Yes, sir.
please introduce yourself to the board, highlighting your educational qualification and work experience, if any.
Yes, sir. I am Raj Krishna. I was born in Patna, Bihar, and I have completed my secondary schooling from DAV Dehradun and my senior secondary schooling from Delhi Public School, Bokaro Steel City. I have graduated in chemical engineering from IIT Guwahati in 2018. And sir, I have no prior work experience as of now.
So, Raj Krishna, you are a graduate from IIT Guwahati, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, instead of pursuing a career in your own core field of education, why did you choose to try for the civil services?
Sir, civil services has been my dream career since childhood, and it is also a dream career for my father as well. He wants to see me serving in the civil services. Apart from these personal factors, sir, the job profile of civil services is also very admiring, and rather than being a specialist nature of job, it gives a lot of diversity and leadership opportunities at a very young age, which I like in the job profile.
Okay, you tell me one thing, you are coming from Bokaro Steel City, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So, tell us something about the Steel City part of Bokaro.
So, Bokaro is one of the coal richest region in India, and the steel plant in Bokaro was established in 1964 with the collaboration with Soviet Union. The steel plant, the Bokaro city is one of the first planned city in India with the steel plant at its center. And it has recently become the first active lifestyle city, first in the Asia and second in the world.
What is the production capacity of Bokaro plant?
So the production capacity is around 3 to 4 million tons of steel right now, and it is being planned to expand it to 10 million tons.
Have you heard of an organization, Korean organization called POSCO?
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about that.
So POSCO is a Korean giant in steel manufacturing. It is one of the world leaders in steel manufacturing. But so that is
any relationship with Bokaro steel plant and POSCO?
So in the revamping and expansion of its capacity, POSCO is also partnering in that process.
When was it taken over by the Steel Authority of India Limited, Bokaro steel plant?
Sir, I'm not sure about the exact year, but in the 1970s sale.
What are other steel plants under Steel Authority of India Limited?
So Bhilai steel plant is there, and apart from Bhilai and Bokaro, Durgapur and Rourkela steel plant are also operated by SAIL.
Do you travel by train also?
Yes, sir.
You must have seen the rails.
Yes.
Rails are manufactured in which steel plant?
So I'm not sure about
I'm not sure. Bokaro manufactures what type of materials?
So Bokaro manufactures different types of steel, hot plate steel or rolling steel, and some
you
other
are an
kind
engineer.
of
When we say hot rolling and cold rolling,
yes,
what is the difference between the two?
So the difference is the temperature at which the steel is being rolled. So hot steel rolled is at a high temperature, and cold roll is at a low temperature, and it leads to some better efficiency in manufacturing process and also better quality as well. The characteristics of both the steels are little different in terms of strength and durability.
Okay. Do you know of any ultra modern steel plant in the private sector?
No, sir, I'm not aware about it.
Okay, thank you.
Raj, you said that Bokaro is the first planned city of India.
So one of the first.
Okay. What about Chandigarh? Is it also a planned city?
Definitely, sir. Chandigarh is a planned
So
city.
compare the two when the cities were established.
So Bokaro Steel City was established in 1964, and Chandigarh was prior to that. I'm not sure about the exact year. And in terms of planning, they both are similar, that they both are divided in sectors, and the residential area is also quite well planned with proper amenities like roads and street lights and all. So the difference lies in the steel plant of Bokaro Steel City because that is the center of the city, and all other activities revolve around it, whereas it is not so in Chandigarh. So that is all I can recall right now.
What else? What other differences there between the two?
So there must be differences with respect to the economy of both the cities. Chandigarh is more of an administrative capital for the two states, and it has a lot of trade potential as well. While in Bokaro, it is mostly service sector and steel plant.
Okay. Some people are suggesting that Bokaro is a decaying city. Why?
So in the recent years, there has been problem of pollution in Bokaro because of fly ash from different cement and steel plants. And also the production capacity has stagnated as of now. There are no new employments being done by the Bokaro steel plant. The most of the jobs are on a contractual basis and given out to private contractors. So because of the decreasing opportunity, it is termed as a declining city.
Okay, I see that in your DAF that you are born in Lohia Nagar,
Yes, sir.
Patna.
Yes, sir.
So Lohia must have interested you. Who was
Yes.
Lohia?
Sir, Ram Manohar Lohia was an Indian freedom fighter and also involved in Indian politics after independence. He founded the Congress Socialist Party and he also edited its mouthpiece. So after independence, he founded Praja Socialist Party and he played a crucial role in forming the first non-Congress government in Uttar Pradesh.
Lohia was a socialite. What kind of socialism he believed in?
Sir, his form of socialism is termed Lohiyawadi, and he also, sir, his socialism involved mainly 7 pillars based on removing the inequality between genders, eliminating the inequality of caste, decreasing the inequality between rich and poor, and also there were some radical ideas like banning of production of private cars or ban on owning of more than 2 houses. So this is all I recall right now.
Okay. In spite of vast poverty across the world, why socialism as an ideology has been declining consistently worldwide and including in India?
So to eliminate the poverty, redistribution of wealth is what is proposed by the socialism. But in doing that redistribution of wealth, socialism tends to hinder the wealth creation aspect, and that is why it fails in.
So do you believe most of the poor people also believe that this is unfair ideology? Why should they get somebody's riches without efforts?
Sir, it's more about redistribution and rather than giving someone other's property to someone else. And what is needed is a reform so that socialism can promote wealth creation. And if that is done, then it can definitely achieve the result.
Can you suggest 2-3 ideas so as to encourage wealth creation with socialism?
So first can be recognition of good work and recognition of good research among scientists so that they can work despite having large monetary benefits. And second can be incorporation of Gandhian ideal of trusteeship model among the big corporates and industrialists so they can also do their duty towards society.
Okay, thank you, Raj.
Okay, Raj, you're basically from Jharkhand.
Yes, sir.
I would like to have conversation primarily around the tribal life.
Yes, sir.
Can you just tell me what are the important tribal revolts that took place in your state?
So Jharkhand was the center of many tribal revolts during British era. Major ones can be Chuar uprising in 1770s. After that, Hose revolt and Coles mutiny, and Santhal rebellion in 1856, which resulted in passing of Santhal Pargana Act. And then there was the Ulgulan or Munda rebellion in 1898 by Birsa Munda.
We have a wonderful document that protects the rights of the tribal, and it is called Constitution of India. Can you mention the provisions in Constitution of India that protects our tribals?
So the fundamental rights protects the interests of tribal.
That's true, but I'm talking about the special provisions for tribal.
Sir, the 5th schedule and 6th schedule, they protect the core interests of tribals by giving them a greater role in their administration. Also, there is Article 338A, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, to look into the grievances and investigate them. And also, sir, there is provisions under Article 334 to provide them reservations in government jobs and education institutions as well.
Where our constitution defines tribals?
So Article 342
Can you just tell us what it is?
So it says that the tribals mentioned under the list of a list notified by the president, they shall be termed as scheduled tribes, and that list can be modified only by the parliament.
Can you compare the tribals of Jharkhand with the mountain tribals in the Himalayas?
So the tribals in Jharkhand, their major economic activity is collection of minor forest produce, and their society is also well governed by their local institutions. While in Himalayas, their main economic activity is herding or cow rearing and sheep rearing, and their governance models are not that well defined as of now.
Thank you.
Raj Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, what can be the 5 instances where a child can easily defy parent?
5 such instances in today's
time where a child should defy his or her parent.
And first will be the choice of his career, because it is most important for his life, and he should be owning that career which he wants to do. Ma'am, second will be choice of partner. So if parents are forcing their ward to choose a particular partner or any constraints, so he should defy that. And third can be choice of education as well, because he should only be interested in, he should only aspire for that education which he is really interested in, rather than going with a collective interest. And apart from these 3, ma'am, a child can also defy his parents in terms of treatment of the other sections of society, especially the most poor and vulnerable, because parents, in order to protect their child, they often tend to make him away from those at the poorest level of society. So he should go out and give a helping hand even if they defy. And lastly will be to gain new experiences, because if parents are overprotective, they can constrict the child from going out unnecessarily, but he can
very right. Tell me, there is a concept of carrying capacity of earth.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Ma'am, carrying capacity of earth says that the earth has limited resources and it can only sustain a limited number of population of different species, including human beings. So the limit in the resource availability and the unlimited usage by humans has led to a dichotomy in the carrying capacity of earth, and earth overshoot day is also there, which exactly measures this.
And we have overshot when?
Ma'am, we have overshot, the overshot has been reducing and becoming earlier in the year. It has now shifted to June, in my opinion, I think so.
Very right. You are also interested in podcasting.
Yes, ma'am.
So you listen to podcast or you create one?
Ma'am, I create one.
You create one?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, what do you create about? What do you talk about?
Ma'am, I have an Instagram channel named Conversations on India, and on that we discuss every week the current happenings in the world and India and their impact on India. So recently we have even completed 1 year of that channel.
Great. So you talk about current events.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, what are the 3 major current events of today?
Ma'am, of today,
in the sense like recent.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the first can be our Prime Minister's visit to Europe and the Indo-German joint declaration that has been issued. Second will be, ma'am, the Russia-Ukraine war and its condition right now. The impact that it has been, its impact on the world and India as well. And ma'am, third will be our neighboring nations and their political and economic scenario. Because Sri Lanka is also facing an economic crisis. Pakistan recently had a regime change. And
anything on domestic front?
Yes, ma'am. In domestic front, inflation is our greatest hurdle right now.
Okay, my last question to you. What is the percentage of inflation that India is facing?
Ma'am, in March, the wholesale inflation was 13.5% around, and the consumer price inflation index had showed inflation of 6.95%.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.
What do you understand by green, blue and grey hydrogen, Prashant?
Ma'am, these are different types of hydrogen based on the source from which they are
Okay, so can you tell
origin.
me how all the three are synthesized?
Ma'am, green hydrogen is the hydrogen that we get by electrolysis of water based on renewable energy.
Okay.
And grey hydrogen is obtained from steam methane reformation process of natural gas. And if the emitted carbon dioxide is captured, then that hydrogen becomes blue hydrogen.
Okay, so there's only one way by which methane is processed and carbon is extracted. There's only one way when you say blue hydrogen is made like this,
Ma'am,
or there is different kinds of reactions which can happen.
Ma'am, majorly steam methane reformation is used, and there must be other methods as well, but I'm
You're
not aware right now.
Okay, and what about gray?
Ma'am, grey hydrogen is also obtained from natural gas, but the carbon dioxide is not captured in that process.
Okay. So, and can you tell me some of the active chemical compounds which are a major source of ozone depletion today? And can you compare them with the earlier compounds which used to be there? How the shift has been made and what were the reasons of the shift?
Ma'am, ozone depletion is largely led by halogen compounds. Chlorofluorocarbon was primarily the reason in 90s and early 2000s, but now it has been banned under the Montreal Protocol.
How successful has been Montreal Protocol?
It has been quite successful. It completely phased out the use of chlorofluorocarbons after 2010. There were some emissions in a few years back, but that was an exception. And apart from the chlorofluorocarbon, other compounds which are a threat to ozone layer are majorly carbon tetrachloride, sulfur hexafluoride, and hydrochlorofluorocarbons.
Okay, so out of the three, which is the main culprit today, if I ask you? What would you say?
I'm not aware about this.
You're not aware?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you understand by coral bleaching?
Ma'am, coral bleaching is the process under which the corals, they expel the zooxanthellae algae and they lose all their colors, so they become white, and that is why it is called bleached coral.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the chemistry?
Yes, ma'am.
Why the term bleach has been used? And what is the significance? What happens when, and why are coral reefs more important as an ecosystem? What features do they have?
Ma'am, coral bleach are one of the richest ecosystem, and they play a huge role in sequestering carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. They
Okay.
also create the whole ecosystem around them. The fishes and many other living organisms, they depend on the coral reefs for habitat as well as food purposes. So because of their importance to the aquatic ecosystem, the bleaching process is very unfavorable for the ecosystem, and in some cases it is irreversible as well. So that is why coral bleaching is a concern right now.
Okay. So my last question to you, in context of India's foreign policy, what are the lacuna areas which you have identified, which you think India should be working on?
Yes, ma'am.
In right now as well as in near future?
Ma'am, major lacuna in India's foreign policy first will be to create more connectivity within the South Asia region.
Okay.
To improve the trade and people-to-people connectivity.
South Asia, when you say South Asia, what all you mean to include in it?
And the Indian subcontinent,
So,
Bangladesh,
what about
Nepal.
SAARC then?
Yes, ma'am.
Should we revive it?
Ma'am, it should be revived by consensus of all the members of SAARC and with active participation of all the members as well.
Even when Pakistan and Indo-Pak relations are not up to the mark, we should go ahead and revive?
Ma'am, we should try to put pressure on Pakistan by incorporating the other members of SAARC to...
and which other members can help there, you think, India, in pressurizing Pakistan?
Ma'am, if a united front is put by all the other members, some discipline can be built.
Okay, tell me 2-3 more areas, lacuna areas.
Ma'am, second will be completion of the connectivity projects that India has undertaken, such as India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway and the Kaladan
But there are
multimodal
security
project.
issues rather than logistic issues in the project, don't you think?
Ma'am,
It's not in government's hand to control those factors. How should we go about it then?
ma'am, intergovernmental coordination can play a role in that by
So what kind of government is Myanmar having now currently?
ma'am, currently they are under the military regime.
So can we have intergovernmental discussion with them?
Ma'am, even if not with Myanmar, with Thailand it can be done. And even before the military regime, the project was on a slow run process.
Okay, no problem. Any third area which you can identify?
Ma'am, third will be to create motivation among the Indian diaspora to contribute to India's development and allow them to play a role in India's development.
So you're not happy with the already existing so many schemes and so many provisions where NRIs and OCIs are promoted?
Yes, ma'am. The schemes are
Okay,
great.
tell me which country was in your mind when you said the Indian diaspora?
Ma'am, not any specific country.
But region?
Ma'am, the North American region.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Raj, we heard your views on tribal uprisings in Jharkhand. Recently, there has been a controversy in Jharkhand regarding constitution of Tribal Advisory Committee. Are you aware of the controversy?
No, sir, I'm not.
You are not aware of the controversy. Recently, Niti Aayog in the year 2021 has issued a report which shows that Jharkhand, Bihar and Jharkhand have emerged as the poorest states in the
Yes.
country. So this is based on your multidimensional poverty index,
Yes.
where three parameters are there based on the weighted average given on these three parameters of health, education and standard of living.
Yes, sir.
So and under these three headings there are subheadings.
Yes.
One such subheading is malnutrition, where the state of Jharkhand has fared the worst. So what are the reasons for malnutrition in the state?
So Jharkhand has been suffering from the worst case of malnutrition in India, and three major reasons for that. First can be availability of adequate and nutritious food to the people. That is lacking in the far remote villages, so they are becoming malnourished. And second will be the lack of health facilities in the vicinity. They cannot even access the most basic health facilities for a simple fever or diarrhea, and that is why they are becoming malnourished. And so third will be apathy from the people side as well. In the interactions with people of Jharkhand, sir, it seems that they are happy the way they are, and even if one of their child dies, they say that even my brother died, or even they had the similar occurrences. So they are not aware that the problem that it is, and they seem to be okay with it. So people's apathy is also another reason.
So you are so much alive to the problems of Jharkhand, the issues of Jharkhand. Suppose you are given the mandate to improve two such areas out of three which we have just discussed. Which two areas you will take up, and what will be your personal contribution in that?
So in improving the malnutrition, the three major issues that were just discussed, the lack of food, lack of health and apathy, in resolving these, first step can be providing them balanced meals with the use of community kitchens or Gram Sabha kitchens, where at least one time healthy meal can be provided to the villagers. The resources can be pooled together by them, and it can be a community activity, so the burden will not be completely on the government. And second will be to create adequate health institutions, especially primary health cares, and also empower the Anganwadis in those villages, so that first aid care at least can be provided to the tribals. And so for people's apathy, a social revolution is required, which will involve the Gram Sabha and the tribal leaders, and also role models who can teach them where they are going wrong.
Okay, thank you very much, Raj. Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Sit, Raj.
Thank you, sir.
So, how was your experience and what is your assessment?
Sir, the experience was wonderful. So seeing every one of you on YouTube, this was very overwhelming for me. And but sir, I could have performed better.
Assessment part?
Yes, sir. So I could have performed better in some questions, especially what sir asked, and I was not able to convey my views thoroughly. And in some, there was a problem in eye contact because I was looking at one person only.
This is going to be your first interview at the UPSC.
Yes, sir.
Which attempt is this?
It's a fourth attempt.
This is your fourth attempt. Okay. How have you done in chemistry paper?
So I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Okay. Raj, you are a wonderful candidate for the civil services.
Thank you, sir.
As far as the personality test part is concerned,
Yes, sir.
you will come out with flying colors. You will be getting very good marks.
Thank you, sir.
Because we tried to grill you on a variety of issues,
Yes, sir.
but you had a clarity of thought. A basic honesty was there in you,
Yes, sir.
and you stood on your own. Where sir has tried to grill you on the tribal issues, there also you did not buckle under pressure.
Yes.
Of course, presentation could have been still better. That's a different issue.
Yes.
But still, you have remained firm while maintaining your composure. That is very important. Stay cool, stay calm, but be firm in your opinion if you have one, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And honesty is very important. And then out of the box thinking. Whenever you get such kind of a question,
Yes,
you
sir.
must show that part of your personality
Yes.
very clearly, because that is what is required in today's bureaucracy.
Yes,
So innovative ideas, out of the box thinking on any area like malnutrition and all that, you spoke very well on those areas.
Thank you, sir.
Similarly, if you are asked that kind of a question,
Yes, sir.
you give a glimpse of your personality of or your thinking,
Yes, sir.
so that you're capable of thinking differently. That is what the country wants in bureaucrats, isn't it? So you have all the good qualities of a bureaucrat, and
Thank you, sir.
nothing much to tell you from our side, because you dealt with all our questions very clearly. How many districts are there in Jharkhand?
So 24.
24. So 13 districts out of 24
Yes,
are
sir.
tribal districts,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? So fifth schedule, you read it thoroughly, which is, states are excluded from the list of fifth schedule and all that.
Yes,
That
sir.
you should read clearly, because you are from Jharkhand, you are from Bihar.
Yes,
A comparative study may be asked. Otherwise, you are well prepared. What little time you are getting now, prepare more on your state.
Okay.
When I tell you about your state, then both Bihar and what are the pending issues between the two states after bifurcation in 2000. Recently, there has been a controversy on that also. That is regarding distribution of pension and the formula to be adopted for distribution of pension between the two states. The state of Jharkhand says it has to be based on population, whereas the state government says it has to be based on the number of employees. If you calculate it based on number of employees ratio, then the share of Bihar government goes up like anything.
Yes, sir.
But the Jharkhand says that the earlier formula was population. So that kind of a question may be asked persons who are known of all this. They may try to ask you questions on that.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, wonderful performance, and you are a brilliant candidate for civil services, and we are very confident of you getting a very good marks in the interview. It all depends how you have done your written.
Thank you.
Any
Sir.
specific question if you want to ask?
Sir, nowadays, even if the student says that I don't know this answer, and then also board tries to ask again or ask something very similar, and tries to. So my question is that should I guess in those questions?
Stood on your ground firmly, because basically once you are a part of the administration,
Yes,
you will
sir.
have to deal with such situations. So it is test of your tenacity, test of your grit,
Okay.
your mental grit. So when you don't know, you don't know. And if you are partially aware of anything,
Yes, sir.
then seek prior approval from the concerned member and then open your mouth. Otherwise, you keep on saying, sir, I don't know. I'm not in a position to make any guess because I'm quite ignorant about the facts. So that is a candid way of admitting the fact that you don't know.
Yes.
So that is why it is test. just to see whether how you react under pressure, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, wonderful performance. You will do very well. And go with a open mind, clear mind, with a positive body language and smile on the face.
Definitely,
Okay?
sir.
All the
Yes.
best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone.